everyone! Welcome to another Thomas the Tank Engine video. Recently, Twitter has been talking about how Duck was the villain in the Pop Goes the Diesel trilogy, but I think it's a lot more nuanced than that. Let's go over Duck. Duck has started out as an engine who came to the yard and immediately began to have a sense of control as he helped defend Percy against the bigger engines. He boasted of his great western heritage, and when the city of Truro arrived to the island for a visit, Duck got very puffed up in his smoke box even more about his great western ancestry, because the city of Truro, if you didn't know, is an engine from the Great Western Railway. Now, let's go over Diesel. Diesel is a diesel engine from the mainland, coming to the island as Sodor, young and inexperienced in shunting at their yards. Despite this, he still believes he is better than steam engines because he is a diesel. They come to a yard and improve it. Despite this though, he immediately begins to compliment the other big engines, either to genuinely compliment them or to be a kiss-up, due to their fame and esteem. But he was soon put in his place when he told Duck that he didn't need any of his help. Now, let's go over Diesel's introduction scene.
Here is Diesel. I have agreed to give him a trial. He needs to learn. Please teach him, Duck.
Good morning, purred Diesel in an oily voice. Pleased to meet you, Duck. Is that James and Henry and Gordon too? I am delighted to meet such famous engines.
The engines are regarded as silly for taking Diesel's compliments so easily. The narration is painting Diesel already as a manipulative bad guy that Duck can see right through. Later, when the Fat Controller tells Duck to teach Diesel, Diesel says he doesn't need to learn at all. Side note, Duck tells Diesel that the Fat Controller is to only be known to him as Sir Topham Hatt. Duck didn't need to say all that, even if he was suspicious of Diesel. All this did was hurt Diesel's feelings and make Diesel even more conceited and have more of a bias against Duck. Duck did not need to say that. Duck tells Diesel to put his money where his mouth is if Diesel says that Diesels really are revolutionary and come to a yard and improve it. And Diesel essentially fails. He goes to sort old rusty trucks who don't want to move, and Diesel is incredibly rough with them to the point where he, destroys their brakes. Diesel is upset that Duck didn't warn him about any of the trucks and their troublesome behavior, and he's even more upset when Duck doesn't even want to take the trucks that Diesel shunted. And Duck replies that he never asked, and he doesn't seem so revolutionary now. So, let's go over the nuances that are already here. Diesel comes to the railway young and prideful of being a diesel, but he goes out of his way to compliment the big engines anyway. Duck's suspicions of Diesel do not make much sense. Even if we all know, as the audience, that Diesel is being manipulative, Duck doesn't know that. It makes him seem conceited due to the visit from the city of Truro. Even if the narrator is clearly creating a bias against Diesel, you cannot deny that Duck's suspicions do not make any sense, as it was Duck who first profiled Diesel as not to be trusted and not the other way around. Side note, whether or not Duck was proven right or wrong at the end of this, it was still an asshole move to profile Diesel as untrustworthy, just out of a first impression, in which Diesel didn't even talk to him. But when Diesel goes and says that a diesel improves the yard and they don't need to learn and figure out anything, Duck had the opportunity to let that run off his shoulders since he knows it has to be otherwise. Duck chose to be offended by Diesel's words here and sought to pay him out, which he did. Overall, this doesn't change the fact that Diesel needed to get a reality check and that he and his class didn't know everything. Duck can still be seen as the quote-unquote good guy here. Being the good guy in a story doesn't mean all your choices and decisions are going to be the morally right one 100% of the time. A lot of people seem to confuse that. Most Thomas plots are revenge-driven anyway, so why should this one be any different? You know what I mean? So, while there was no need to Duck to fuel the fire of tension between the Steamies and the Diesels, in which case it would be Duck and Diesel since this was the first time we actually saw this kind of plot, Diesel didn't have to act as if he was better immediately after everyone else was out of the picture and it was only him and Duck talking in the yards. We have two prideful characters, proud of their heritage, at odds. It's a very interesting dynamic and shows exactly what happens when one side shows humility. Did I just say humility? When one side shows humility and the other does not. So far, both characters have made choices that actively made their relationship worsen, but let's see what happens when one of them tries to make up for their behavior.
Diesel, the new engine, was sulking. The trucks would not stop singing rudely at him. Duck was horrified. Shut up!
he ordered, and bumped them hard. I'm sorry our trucks were rude to you, Diesel. Diesel was still furious. It's all your fault. You made them laugh at me.
The episode that really shows just who really is the most antagonistic character. As we all know at this point, both Duck and Diesel did bad things to each other, but here's where Diesel goes above and beyond of what Duck did to make him more of a villain than Duck ever was. When the trucks are singing and making fun of Diesel at the beginning, who was the one who tells the trucks to shut the fuck up? Duck. And he was the one who got Diesel into this situation in the first place. He had a genuine apology, but Diesel still chose to believe that Duck had manipulated the trucks into continuing to tease him, even after the matter they were teasing him about had subsided. Notice how Duck chose to get offended at Diesel's words, and Diesel chose to not accept Duck's apology and view him as manipulative. It would have been fine if Diesel just didn't accept Duck's apology and they didn't get along. But what does Diesel do instead of letting bygones be bygones? He decides to spread lies about Duck and get him ostracized from the big engines and sent out from the yard. This is where Diesel's manipulative behavior truly comes out. He gets the Fat Controller to send Duck away in tears, and Duck is made to work on Edward's branch line. Duck then redeems himself from his actions before in pop goes the Diesel when he stops the accident in a close shave, and he is brought back to the yard as Diesel is sent packing for being found out of his manipulation. So what have we learned today? While both characters did antagonistic things, one of them was able to grow out of that behavior, and the other one fell deeper into it to prove a point, even though he ended up losing the point anyway. Although Duck still does brag about being Great Western all the time, at least he has other engines to shut him up about it, and episodes that show that Duck isn't always right.
You don't understand, Donald, how much the Fat Controller relies on me. "Ach, aye," muttered Donald sleepily. "I'm Great Western, and I... Quack, quack, quack." "What?" "Ye heard? Quack, quack you go. Sounds like you'd an egg laid. Now wheesht and let an engine sleep."
The too long didn't listen or didn't understand is, yes, both Duck and Diesel did messed up things to each other, but at the end of the day, Duck understood his wrongs and Diesel didn't, and Diesel made the situation worse even though Duck was trying to fix it. So all in all, both characters were antagonists, but Diesel was the villain. There is a difference, and hopefully this video helped people see a new perspective on the argument. Bye y'all! See y'all next video!